I actually want to talk to you a little bit about, we're always thinking about, we're kind of paranoid. Are we seeing the best deals and best companies, especially in our backyard here in Utah? And what I've heard about Floodgate is you guys are really, really good. You're very scrappy and, get the most out of a little resource. And you're very good at community. And I think that's something that we could be doing a lot better, especially kind of our own neck of woods here in Salt Lake City. So we're thinking about that. How can we do better about community? I've been really impressed with something like Anchor List that you guys do, but would just love to hear, thinking back to your early days and how you started creating community around Floodgate. Any kind of general lessons or advice that you could share?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think we could be better at this. Here's how I look at us, and your mileage may vary, right? But like in the late 2000s, Floodgate had an insight, and that was that there was a gap between angels and VCs. You couldn't raise $1 million in Silicon Valley in 2006. You had to raise $250,000 from friends and family, or you had to go straight to $5 million, Series A. So we said, okay, you can't raise $1 million at a time when a lot of people are going to want to raise that much, because you got this thing called lean startups. And so, there was Steve Blank and Eric Ries, they were good friends. So we just totally captured the zeitgeist of the time, right? Like the check, 500,000 is the new 5 million was the perfect point of view to have in 2006. And luckily we were right, but actually, unfortunately, we were really right. So before we knew it, there was no longer a gap. Not only was there not a gap, there were like 1,000 seed funds. Now there's 2,000 seed funds. And so our initial insight was no longer true. So what do? You have two options. You could just milk your reputation and just try to out execute people. Just say, we're OG seed fund people, take our money, we're better and smarter, we're cooler. That didn't feel right to me, especially since in venture you get older and you get out of touch, and entrepreneurs don't really care that you were an OG VC, right? The other option is to find a new insight. And I believe that our insight is that we try to get to know the best founders before they start a startup. We're trying to find Patrick Collison before he starts Stripe. And so like when I invested in Applied Intuition, Kasser Yunus and I had been spending time for 9 months talking about different ideas and different things you could do. So if Andreessen Horowitz is like a talent agency, like Mike Ovitz and CAA, we're trying to be talent scouts like Billy Bean. And we're trying to apply sabermetrics to understanding who is likely going to be great someday. Sometimes we'll be wrong. Sometimes they won't start a startup. Sometimes they'll start a startup and it'll be so compelling, they'll take money from somebody else, not us. But our instinct is that as long as we keep our fund size small, that's okay. Because you don't have to be in every great deal. You just have to spend your time with the very best people. And it's kind of a leap of faith that the dots will forward connect. And so that's our story we're sticking. So I like to say we've gone from 500,000 is the new 5 million to saying we're your first true believers. But we're your first true believers, not your startup's first true believers, because we don't know if you've got a startup yet or ever will. But we just believe there's a set of people in the world who are future prime movers, and we exist to help them regardless of where they end up. And sometimes we'll get to invest in their startup. And that's not the only way to succeed. It's just, it works for us, right? But it requires us to have smaller communities than some people have.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish we could talk more. This is awesome. Thanks for doing this.
And, so much of this, it's not about being better. It's about being different. You just got to find your difference.